Tayshia is in deep. She has unbelievably strong feelings. She is falling in love, but is that going to be reciprocated fully in the way she wants it to be? And maybe those scenes are telling in how this ends up.
Is there a proposal gone wrong?
We're about to wait and find out, but I will just say this, it is incredibly emotional.
Who better to talk about all things Bachelor Nation than Mr. Chris Harrison himself? Oh, Mr. Harrison, we have many questions. First, I want to get this out of the way. We've seen lots of intense discussions this season on The Bachelorette, talk about eating disorders and suicide and race, all of these really big topics. And we kind of wanted to know how production handles all that. Have you guys discussed with some of these contestants what they would be talking about beforehand, afterwards? How do you guys address all that?
You know, going into a season, we really encourage all the contestants to really bare their soul and just go with what they feel. And if it is Black Lives Matter, if it is Ben and going through his mental health, we embrace it and we encourage that. We want those conversations. You know, I think The Bachelor and Bachelorette is always a sign of the times, not vice versa. I don't think we, wag the dog wags the tail. And so, I think we're a microcosm of what's going on out there. And obviously Black Lives Matter and racial injustices and where that stands is a huge topic, as is mental health and what is happening in the world right now. And suicide rates are up 200%. And so these are topics that are affecting everybody in the world right now. So yeah, it should bleed into the pages of The Bachelor and Bachelorette. And so we encourage that.
There have been discussions before, I don't think it's a secret, that you guys have a therapist who works with the contestants. So how did that therapist play in when there were a lot of these tough topics?
No more than usual. They're always there. And you're right. You get tested into the show. We do have medical and mental help there 24/7, should anybody need it. And they often do, and in a lot of aspects. And they are available after the show is over if you need to lean on somebody. We're always very careful, and we really do try to take care of everybody on the show, on camera and off camera. But, it really wasn't any different. There was, take Ben, for example, that we just watched that incredibly compelling conversation when he bared his soul to Tasha.
I guess we can go deep. I had 2 failed suicide attempts in 2018 and 2019. And I don't mean to throw that on you. It's a weird thing to do here.
It was kind of cathartic. I've talked to him in the last few days, and it really meant a lot to him that we gave him that stage, and he was embraced in that way.
Is it something that you or Tasha had any idea he would get into? Did you guys kind of do a touch base with everybody after that?
Oftentimes we know the story, we know the backstory, or we know that there is something underneath. Will they always go there? No. And so we don't know. We encourage them to talk about whatever they want. But, I know people give us as producers all this credit for making people do things or telling them, you can't make somebody bare their soul like that.
Yeah.
Either Ben is going to feel comfortable in that space and give that to Tasha, or he's not. Either Zach is going to come clean and talk about his substance abuse and addiction, or he's not. That is in the moment. And so you can't force that on anybody, but I like the show better. I think it's more sincere, more real, more relatable when these real human beings who seem like they're perfect on the outside are not perfect. We all have that in our life. I think it's great for people to see that.
Well, I think it's evident of how deep Tasha's connections with these remaining guys are. What can you tease about the final episodes? How is this all going to end?
First of all, they start stacking up from here on out. We're kind of backed up to Christmas. Obviously, we're a little bit off kilter and off our schedule. So the next 2 weeks, everybody needs to know they are back-to-back Monday and Tuesday night episodes. So, get your drinks and your rosé ready for those next 2 weeks. But you're right, Lauren, things have definitely kicked up a notch in the intimacy department. The hometown dates are a little bit different. Obviously, we have to bring home to La Quinta. So it is a very different, vulnerable side because, families feel comfortable with home court advantage. They don't have that. These are moms and dads and friends that aren't used to stepping onto our stage. And so it was a very vulnerable, almost uncomfortable feeling because they were walking into the lights, the cameras in our moment. So it's a very different hometowns than you've ever seen before. And it's only going to get more difficult, more emotional as we go on.
Good evening.
Bennett walks in like he never left.
You guys look like you've seen a ghost.
I'm scared to death.
I'm nervous as hell.
I don't want to hurt anyone.
This is really real for me.
I don't see him coming back.
Well, promos show Tayshia crying on the side of the road. Then she's crying in a white dress in what looks like a proposal moment. So what happens in each of those breakdowns?
Just as much as the guys are into this, Tayshia is in deep. She has unbelievably strong feelings. She is falling in love. But is that going to be reciprocated fully in the way she wants it to be? And maybe those scenes are telling in how this ends up.
Is there a proposal gone wrong?
We're about to wait and find out, but I will just say this, it is incredibly emotional.
I don't like seeing Tayshia cry in that white dress. It scares me.
Well, it's a side of Tayshia, honestly, Lauren, that we don't really get to see very often. She is this kind of, I don't want to say perfect to put her on a pedestal, but she's this bubbly, gorgeous, woman that we always just kind of see in this certain light. So when you see her vulnerable, when you see her brokenhearted and you see her at that level, it's just different. It really does hit you in a different way.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, Chris Harrison. We don't like to see Tayshia cry. You've released Matt James's women. Give me a couple women to watch for here. I noticed we have a socialite, and is that a queen on this season of The Bachelor?
You're talking about Kit, our socialite. Think, and you're gonna love this, think Carrie Bradshaw, Sex and the City. Her mom is a very, very well-to-do, very well-known fashion designer. And so she is very Sex and the City, very Carrie Bradshaw. You're gonna love Kit. You're talking about Queen Victoria.
Right.
Queen Victoria is here and she's here to rule. I don't know if you're gonna love her judgments, but you're definitely going to appreciate Queen Victoria. And then on the other side, you have some amazing women, kind of like Tayshia and Claire's season. We have an unbelievable group of women. Bree, is a woman who left an unbelievably high-paying tech job. I can't say the company because I don't want to ruin it, but she, kind of like Ali Fedotowsky, left an amazing job to come find love with Matt James. You have a girl like Sarah who, I don't want to ruin her story, but she is the caretaker of her family and she's finally doing something for herself and here to find love. There was such a response to Matt James being the Bachelor, the biggest response we've ever had. And we wanted to give as many women a chance to find love as possible. So we start with 32, but there will be more than those that arrive. And I can also give you this nugget. One woman who arrives is a very, very familiar face to Bachelor Nation.
Cheers to falling in love.
You've never been in love?
I haven't.
My job is to change that.
Well, you say in the Bachelor promo that it is your job to help Matt fall in love. Matt says he never has. So are you successful?
Yeah, and it's not that he's never been in love. I think with Matt, he didn't realize until he was the Bachelor that the words he was saying didn't have the meaning that he wanted them to have. He said, I love you before. He thought he had been in love, but when you dive into this, it really does strip you down. Not to pat ourselves on the back, but it really takes you to places in your emotions you've never been before. And I think Matt realized, wow, I really have never felt this before. So it is a wild ride. And if I do my job correctly, I will fix it. Do I? We'll see. I will say this about Matt's journey and getting to know him. You all see a certain side of him on social media. There is so much more. You're seeing the 5% of the iceberg. There is so much depth. There is so many layers to this man that you're going to get to know, good and bad. I mean, there's just stuff in his past and his family that, like we all do, we have baggage that has made us who we are. There is baggage that has made Matt the man he is. And he's a great man, but there are things that he's going to have to get past, some hurdles he will have to clear before he can find that happily ever after.
Have you found a Bachelorette among Matt's 32 women?
We have not officially found a Bachelorette at all. There are women on this show that will definitely be contenders.
Everyone will fall.
Good?
I'm good.
For our new
Just keeps getting hotter.
Bachelor.
Whew. Yum.
Any other filming updates? Is Bachelor in Paradise going to happen? What's going on?
Nothing official. Obviously, we're in a holding pattern like everybody else, waiting for this vaccine. And hopefully, knock on wood, this vaccine will change our lives as a country, much less as a production. Our goal, what we have on the calendar right now, is go back into the Bachelorette like normal. That will lead us into Bachelor in Paradise like normal. Will the world be normal? Who knows? I mean, we will see. But if the vaccine comes through, which it should mid-spring, it should allow us to get back in proper order.